I'd like to go over some issues that we run into with this machine, some troubleshooting tips. So right off the bat, you want to make sure your coolant levels are right, and sometimes what happens is the side trough here fills up with some chips and it doesn't flow into the reservoir, so that sometimes needs to get cleaned out. Another thing you want to keep in mind with coolant is you can see there are jets right here, and they're tied together to shoot right at the boring bar, and it also gets the chips out of the hole. Same thing with this. You have this is pointing actually down. It should be pointing more like that, so it's shooting directly at the tip of the parting tool. It's important to get your mixtures right as well with your coolant. Now that we have the auto mixer, it shouldn't be as bad, but something to keep in mind is if you're getting a lot of galling inside your bores or on your parts, that could be the wrong coolant mixture. Unlikely now, but it also could be that these jets aren't flushing the chips out because there isn't a lot of room in that bore. Another issue that we had, and we solved it by shortening this drill bit, is this drill is a bit longer, and all these programs that we run generally don't have a center drill. So what was happening was the drill bit was drifting, and it would continuously drift down the center of the part, and what would happen was the bores would be oblong, not quite round. So we solved that by shortening this drill bit and creating a little bit rigid set it to just self-correct that, keep it nice and true. Now there's been some damage to this tailstock. You can see there used to be a linkage that went here, and this has always been like this since we've had it. But right on this bar inside this chamber behind this cover plate, there's shaft collars on this, and the bars actually, this senses whether the tailstock's in and out or out of position. So if you get an out of position tailstock alarm, or sometimes you don't even see it, but it shouldn't be an issue now because we have the tailstocks, the shaft collars locking this in place to read up on the sensor. The other issue could be is this actually has a slight bend, so if someone comes in and semi-rotates this, you can see it rotates, and the shaft collar will move away from the sensor far enough, so that could be an issue. And just to look at that, you just pop these covers off and you make sure that the sensor light, which is inside there, is reading that it's something's touching it. Once before we've had an issue with this. Now we've added this sticker, and this is to do with the guard. So this guard, that key is an override to run this, and you can see we were just messing with this to solve this problem. Someone turned that key and the guard was sticking and it wouldn't lock. So it made the confusion of the guard door was open, so we couldn't home the machine. So that was throwing an alarm. So there is an alternative. If your guard door sensor isn't working or it's sticking, you can override it. But we're going to try to get it working so it locks the door when the machine's running. Another thing you want to do is blow this filter out, and you can blow this fan out. Be careful not to spool the fan up with the air wand, because it can actually cause voltage to go back in the lines. Another thing that's happened before, and this is a more advanced problem, is a turret position alignment issue, and this involved replacing one of these little cards in here. So this is something we called Rush Machine to do, and Rob was able to fix this for us, but it came up with a turret position alarm. Another issue is coolant leaks. So there was hard to see, there was a seal on the back of this that we installed, and there was coolant spraying out of a sensor, so that's kind of solved that, but it seems like it's come back. So after we put we capped the back of the spindle off, prevented a lot of pressurized coolant that's directed right at the chuck to slow down, but there is a slight dripping over here, so I would think we're going to have to relook at this. And the other side of it, there is a trough. When you take this back guard off, there's a trough on this side that anything that spills down there, it goes back and connects and drains back into the coolant tank underneath. So that had to be cleaned out at one point too, when the coolant wasn't going back into this. So that involved taking this off, going around the back of the machine, taking I believe this panel off, and we had to clean it out pretty good. There's two vents right here, right on top of this cabinet, right up there, and those vents are heat vents, almost for like the braking system, the regen. So make sure those there's nothing on there, because someone left the binder on there at one point and it actually burnt the binder up, so it wasn't actually able to vent properly. So just key points to keep in mind as you're operating this machine or you run into things.